When I started woodworking, I tried to follow the best advice I could possibly find, but a lot of it made woodworking harder, more expensive, and sometimes pretty discouraging. If you're on a tight budget and you're trying to build a shop the hard way, this might save you months of frustration and money you don't have to waste. I know this because I've been there. So today we're going to go over the bad advice that I really wish I had ignored so you don't have to learn the hard way too. Stick around because the last one is advice almost everyone gives that hurts beginners the most. Now this video is not about cheap versus expensive tools. This is about advice that gets spread a lot that can actually end up hurting you even though it feels right or even sounds smart. Before we jump into this, if you'd like to check out any of the tools or supplies that I show today, there'll be links in the description, the pinned comment to help you find them easier, and of course the QR code right there you can scan with your phone if you're watching this on TV, or click the View Products button. Check those out there. Let's go. Number one on the list, buy once, cry once, or a lot of people say buy nice or buy twice. While that advice typically holds up pretty well, it's not always the right advice for you in woodworking, especially if you're a beginner just starting out. When I started, I had no money to my name. We were 4 months behind on our mortgage. We had to file bankruptcy. It's a big, long story, but we were broke, and it was seriously hard to buy tools. So I couldn't just buy once or cry once. I was already crying. How could I go out and buy something else? So I really needed to focus on getting the tools that could get the job done. So what I did was just borrow a couple of tools to get started, a circular saw and a couple of drills. I borrowed those from family members just so I could start. And then from there, I was buying budget stuff. The first sander I bought was a Hyper Tough from Walmart. It was like 20 bucks. I got what I could get to get started. And that's the most important thing when you're starting out as a woodworker. Don't listen to the buy once, try. Like, you could buy the nicest stuff, but it's not gonna make you a better woodworker. What you need to do to get started is just get started. In any means necessary, so long as it's legal and ethical. You're gonna use what you can to get started. For instance, when you're starting out, this drill right here with the battery and everything is like $350. This drill is about $100, give or take. If you get the combo kit for like $150 or so, includes an impact and 2 batteries. That's a massive difference when you start wanting to think about it. This, buy nice. It's really nice. It's the most powerful and best drill that DeWalt makes. This is their lower model drill, but this will do almost everything this will do with a few caveats. But this will do mostly everything you need to do in a wood shop, which is drill holes, drive screws. So if you're getting started, you don't have to reach and grab or try to stretch and save until you can afford this. If you're wanting to start with what you can. Something smaller, something lighter, something less expensive. Or think about sanders, for example. This is what I think is the best sander under $100. It's a DeWalt variable speed sander. You can also get a Craftsman version of this. They're identical other than the color, in my opinion, and it's not variable speed on the Craftsman, for about $50 or $60 versus a $650 Festool sander. You don't have to have this to sand wood. This works too. And I started out with the Hyper Tough and then went to the DeWalt. Used the DeWalt for several years. So don't think that you always have to buy the nicest, greatest, best tools just to make woodworking projects. Start with what you can and then work your way up from there. So when I tell you that bad advice can hurt you, I'm not just kidding. I lived through it because I wanted the nicer stuff. I tried my best to save up for that stuff. But honestly, the best thing you can do is just get started. If you have to cut plywood on the floor, get after it. When I first moved into here, I didn't have a workbench. I was using the floor, so a $700 saw, track saw, wouldn't really do me much good, but a straight edge and a circular saw did. I was able to make do with what I had. Good enough tools used correctly can build and build and build until you're able to buy the nicer stuff if you even want it. There's a lot of tools that I still use that I've had for years, and I could upgrade them, but I don't because they work. Why upgrade something that's already working? So don't let the advice of buy once, cry once always freeze you where you're not actually making progress and making your projects. Now the next one gets a lot of beginners, especially when they start watching build videos or tool videos on this platform. And that's number 2, which is you need this tool to be a real woodworker or to be legit. You don't. It's not really spoken a lot, but it almost is implied when you watch a lot of videos. It's not really implied by the creator. It's almost like it's subconsciously you're thinking this stuff, or at least I did. And that is, if you're really serious about being a woodworker, you need this tool. Like you need whatever. Like you need a Festool domino or a Festool sander or this DeWalt drill or this Milwaukee whatever. Like you see a lot of these tools in a lot of videos because they work really well. A lot of people just buy them and use them in their videos, but subconsciously you're thinking to yourself, or I at least was thinking to myself, I need that because it would make me a better woodworker. It's not always the case. For instance, clamps. You see a bunch of parallel clamps all over YouTube, all over tool videos or build videos. These are really nice to have, but I have a whole video about what clamps beginners should buy. This is dead last on the list. Why? Because there's other options out there that are more affordable. Even if you wanted a parallel clamp, Harbor Freight makes a really good, nice Bremen clamp. Win makes really good parallel clamps. Even Jorgensen, good parallel clamps that won't break the bank. But a lot of beginners would probably start with something like a pipe clamp, or what I started with actually were what I call F clamps. You may see them called bar clamps. These are very affordable, and I've clamped up a bunch of stuff with them. You don't have to have parallel clamps. Did I want some? Of course I wanted some. Everybody had them. I wanted them. But these will do a lot of the same processes or clamping operations that these will do if used properly. And recently, I've picked up a couple of these. These are very affordable, almost similar to parallel clamps, made in America. It's from a small family-owned company called Dubuque. These are very affordable, so you don't have to spend $50, $60, $70 per clamp to get started, especially when you can buy these F or bar clamps for $8, $10 a piece, depending on the size, of course. They go up to $15, $20 a piece. Like, you can get these at a fair price for what you're getting. And I have been guilty of this as anybody. I've bought tools just because I saw them online somewhere and I thought, yeah, I could use that in my projects, and then they wind up sitting in the drawer, or I use them once or twice and never use them again. It happens to all of us, but as a beginner, wasting that money, it can be detrimental and it can just crush you. I know, because I lived it. So what you want to do is buy tools that are solving the real problems you're having. The first big tool purchase I made was a miter saw because I needed to make accurate miter cuts consistently. So I saved up and bought a miter saw, and I never regretted it, but it solved a real problem I was having. Now the next piece of advice sounds smart, it sounds logical, but it could cause some of the most frustration. The number 3 piece of advice that is bad in a lot of cases, and I follow myself, is that better specs mean better tools. For instance, this DeWalt XR hammer drill, again, beast of a drill. It has enough power to literally break your wrist, but it won't because it has an anti-rotation feature that'll stop it. Do you need that much power in a wood shop to do quality work? No. Ryobi makes fantastic tools. I've gotten crap all over the internet about having Ryobi tools, using Ryobi tools, and loving Ryobi tools. I don't care. All that matters is, will they get the job done? If they will, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. I'm not looking to try to win some man award because I've got a red tool versus a green one. I don't care what people think about the tools. I care if they get the job done and if they get the job done for you. It's like comparing a 12-inch miter saw to a 10-inch miter saw. For years, I thought, man, only 12 inches, that's it. I'm not getting a 10-inch saw, until I got one. And I have very rarely regretted or missed having that 12-inch capacity. It's not that much, and especially in a wood shop, building the type of stuff I build, I don't need that 12-inch large sliding capacity or even the blade capacity. The 10-inch has done me perfectly fine. And if you look at 10-inch saws, they can save you a lot more money versus a 12-inch saw. And the same thing goes for table saws. The saw stop is nice. It's also a really large tool. It has really nice specs and everything like that, but it's almost $5,000 at this point. They've gone up like $2,000 over the last couple of years, which is insane. It's a whole nother video, but you can get a really nice saw like this Skill, same 10-inch size blade, but at a much reduced cost. This thing is like $330 unless it's on sale. So this is a really good tool. You don't need the biggest and the best to get the job done. Just buy what works for you. Start with the projects, not the tools. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see with beginners. And we coach a lot of beginners over on Sawdust Startups. It's our group coaching community where we help woodworkers grow their woodworking businesses, get their first sales, and scale beyond that. This is one of the biggest things we see. They want to get all the tools before they get started building the projects. You should reverse that. You should start with the projects and then worry about the tools. Let's break that down. So some advice I've seen out there is build your shop first and then get started on your projects. Well, that's very hard to do if you have no money coming in. I know, I was there. That's why I started with borrowed tools, is because I wanted to get started. And how did I do that? I started with those borrowed tools. I built what I could with what I had. Once I had those projects built, I started selling them. And once I started selling them over and over and over, I would reinvest the profits into my little business so that I could scale and also build my tool collection to tools that I needed and or even wanted sometimes. The truth is the projects are going to tell you what tools to buy in most cases. You can build a lot with a circular saw and a drill. I built a bunch of outdoor furniture using just a circular saw and a drill. I've also built a chair on the Home Depot parking lot using a circular saw and a drill. So you can build things with bare minimum tools, and then once you get a little money going with the stuff you're selling, then you can buy bigger tools so you can build more things like tables and end tables and whatever else you want to build. The mistake is I've seen a lot of people buy planers and jointers and all kinds of saws and everything, and then they don't use half of them because they're not used for the projects they actually enjoy building or the projects that are actually selling. So you don't need to run out and buy all of those tools just to get started. So if you're a beginner and money is tight, pick a project that you can build with the tools you have or the tools you can borrow or the tools you can afford, and then build that project, and then try to sell that project, and then move from there. And then let the next project determine what tools you're going to need. That's really how a shop gets built for most of us, is one tool or one project at a time. And real quick, if you're stressed about tools and you're really wanting your woodworking to pay for itself, in other words, pay for the tools that you're buying just by selling the projects, that's why we created Sawdust Startups, to help you get your first sale and scale beyond that. It's a full course and a coaching community with over 500 other woodworkers, all with the common goal of growing their woodworking business, and it's 100% positive. We don't have any negativity in there. We're all encouraging each other to get started. Plus, we have live group coaching calls every Tuesday to help answer any questions you may have along the way. There's pricing templates, there's time management courses, everything you need to know about growing and selling your woodworking projects. This is the place to go. First link in the description. Now, advice number 6, cheap tools are a waste of money. Are they? So I've heard a lot of advice about don't buy cheap tools because they are a waste of money. Some, yes, they are. Some, no, they're not, because a cheap tool might be a stepping stone to get you to the next level. If you're starting out and you don't have any money and the only thing you can afford is that Hyper Tough sander from Walmart, like I did, it got me to the next level. It helped me sell a few projects so that I could go buy the DeWalt sander. Now, the Hyper Tough didn't last very long, but it got me to where I was going, right? So a lot of times buying the cheap tool is just a way to get to the next step. Don't get discouraged with that. Don't buy that cheap tool. It's not ever going to last you. It may last you long enough to get to the next step. Now, one rule is so long as the cheap tool doesn't compromise safety or accuracy, that's when they're worth it. If they compromise either one of those, it's probably not worth trying to dive into that, especially if it's your safety involved. Never compromise on your safety. And I don't want you to ever feel ashamed about what you can afford or what you can't afford. I know, because I've done that, where I felt like, man, I just feel bad when you walk in there and you see the tool and you want the tool and you can't afford it. It sucks, I know, but be patient, because if you take it with baby steps and you're building the projects you can with what you have and you sell those projects, you can reinvest that money and those tools will come in due time. It takes everyone time. This was not built in a day. This was not built in a month or a week or a year. This is taking years. And every wood shop you see, well, I'd say 99% of the wood shops you see on YouTube or any other video were built over years and years and years. It's not something that just happens overnight. So take your time, be patient. I know it's hard, but that's the most important thing, is to keep that in mind, that these things take time. Number one bad piece of advice that I think causes the most frustration with all beginner woodworkers is the tool will fix it. In other words, if I buy a better tool, the problem I'm having will go away. If I buy that big, nice table saw, everything else is going to be perfect. I'm going to be able to build these projects with extreme accuracy. It's not always the case, because we have to build up those skills as well, not just the tool. You have to have the skill to build those things, and that's going to come with time and practice. Just like if you were practicing to be a better football player or baseball player or guitar player or golf or whatever your hobby is, fishing, like all of these things take time, practice before you get better at it. Same thing with woodworking. It's no different. A lot of times, even with budget level tools, the problems with your accuracy are probably your dull bits and blades. I have had blades that I've used hundreds of times and I made a cut and they're all wavy looking, especially on a circle saw, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. The blade was old and dull. Like, that's all it was, a $7 blade or $5 blade to put a new blade on there. Off to the races, everything was cutting good again. So a lot of times it's not even the tool that needs upgraded, it's just regular maintenance on blades, bits, that sort of thing. So if you think about that, your consumables like sandpaper, router bits, saw blades, that sort of thing will actually fix a lot of the issues you have with accuracy or burning or bad cuts more than an upgrade would. Most bad advice you see out there is not malicious. It's not meant to hurt you. It wasn't meant to hurt me or discourage me or frustrate me. It was meant to help me. But in my situation, with a very tight budget I was on, the advice just did not fit my situation. The main thing is, if you're on a budget, buy the tools that solve the next problem. Don't buy just because you watched it in a video or because you think it's cool. And if you have the budget and you think something's cool, by all means, it's your money. You do what you want. But if you're on a tight budget and you're trying to work your way up to more tools, think about what's going to solve the actual problem you're having right now. And if you've fallen for bad advice, don't feel bad. I have too. A lot of us have. Let us know in the comments what those were. And as a community, we can all learn together. That's one of the greatest things about woodworking is it's a strong community of people who always want to help each other. And that's what I love about it. And speaking of wasting money, cordless tools are where a lot of people waste money. I have a whole video right there about a scam that most people fall for. Clicking that box helps you not fall for that scam. Clicking that box gets you the big old virtual fist bump. If this video was helpful to you, hit that subscribe, and thank you for watching.